Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb. I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up. Cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement.
Welcome in, everybody. How we all doing? Your boy Ghost is back, and we're in the booth tonight. And boy, oh boy, we got some fun for everybody. We have busted out round 2 of our Multiclass Championship here from GT45 Gaming Motorsports. And boy, what a doozy this one's going to be tonight. We are at Watkins Glen. And I tell you, this is one of my favorite tracks in this whole game. Is this track right here, Watkins Glen. It is high speed. It is full of good passing zones. And with two classes of cars on the track, it should be a very spicy event here tonight. So on the screen in front of us is our 2025 season schedule, and as you can see, we are at round 2 of Watkins Glen, as round 1 is now blacked out. And of course, we ran that last week, and a huge day for Dylan 0119 in the prototype championship, as he maxed points last week, 29 racing laps, fastest lap, pole position, and 3 bonus points for first place, putting him at a total of 34 points for the season. And our GT3 leader here is Ishmael Truth with 27, 28, and 3 is 31 points here on the season without looking at the standings in front of me here. So we had a pretty good start to our Multiclass Championship last week. We had no incidents on track. We had a little bit of a oopsies at the start, the first start, but then the guys got it together, and boy, what a great race at Spa last week. So I expect this one to be even better this week. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's go through everything we got going on here. We're running out of time before we start this thing. We got 5 minutes. All right, so on the screen in front of us now, ladies and gentlemen, is our blue flag zones. Now, this is not mandatory for our drivers. This is suggested zones where the GT3 cars can allow the prototypes through efficiently, quickly, and easily, and or their own class lead lap cars, if that is the case and you're being lapped. So this is just suggested. It's not mandatory that the drivers have to wait and let through at that spot. This is just the optimal spots on this particular racetrack this week to allow that traffic to get through efficiently and without time loss. However, if they do catch up to each other in a non-designated blue flag zone, the deal is the lap traffic is just to stick to its line, hold its line, be predictable, and the faster car has to find a safe way to pass. So that is a little bit of the breakdown and why we have a blue flag schedule here this season. It's just to give the drivers an idea where the best spots to allow those passes to happen most efficiently without losing time. Moving on, got lots to cover here. All right, so we do have Watkins Glen on the docket here today, and it is a 3.27 mile racetrack. It has 15 left and right hand turns. It is a tarmac surface. It is a real world circuit, as all our tracks will be real world this season, and has an elevation change of 115 feet approximately. So again, this is my favorite racetrack. I absolutely love Watkins Glen. I love racing Watkins Glen. I love watching Watkins Glen. I mean, it is just all good all the way around. So we have all of our drivers but one here in the lobby today, and I'm not sure if our last driver will make it, as he is on a work outing out of town, I believe. So we may be missing Jolly Rancher here today. I'm just going to find out if that is actually the case here. Just bear with me as I'm just giving him a private message here real quick to see if he's going to make the grid or not this evening. If that's the case, we probably could have let Cupcake race as a reserve for Cobra, but I was unaware that Cobra was not potentially going to make it tonight. I'm just assuming that that is why he's not in the grid so far. Anyways, welcome in everybody, welcome back. I mean, we're going to do what we do best here. We're going to bring some live racing action. This is a doozy of a series. This is a multi-class series. We have LMPH, the Toyota GR010, and we have the GT3 class out on track. So the GT3 class is an open pick with a specified amount of cars. The cars that are viable are basically anything that's not a VGT and anything that has ran real world at some point in its racing lifetime. Those GT3 cars are eligible for the series. We have a different tire mandate for each round. This week it is soft tires required, and that tire only needs to touch the racetrack, and that's it, and they're good to go. In case of rainy weather, we do void the tire mandate, and the drivers can use whatever they want from that point on. However, rain will not factor in at Watkins Glen, as we do not have a weather model for rain on the American tracks in the game currently, so that will not factor in. So we will see our drivers be forced to use the soft tires at some point in time on the track. Now, with the tire and fuel settings at 4 times tire and 3 times fuel, the tires are going to go quite quickly. They might get 5, 6, maybe 7 decent laps out of those tires, and that's it. They're going to be toast. So we are going to see an interesting strategy here today. Obviously, with the new point system being a point per lap completed, it really puts pressure on the racers, the teams, and the individual drivers to figure out the best strategy to minimize pit time to maximize the amount of laps raced on track for the season. So a little bit of a different look this season. We will have a 20-minute qualifier to start our event off here this evening as well. That will be started with our GT3 class tonight. They will run the first 10 minutes of qualifying, and then they will be removed off the racetrack back to pit lane. And our Group 1 class, or our LMPH class, will hit the track for the final 10 minutes all the way to the checkered flag. We did it the other way last week, so now we reverse it this week. And that just allows each class to get that extra lap in at the end of qualifying, because they get to run to the checkered flag. So just trying to keep it even, Steven, basically. So we'll see it a little bit different here today, and we are just missing one driver here tonight. We are still spots available in the championship if you are interested in joining the championship. The registration is available in the Discord server and several other Discord servers, and we will get that link posted in the YouTube comments for everybody here tonight as well. We're just checking on the live stream, make sure everything is working here. We had a little bit of feedback from a couple of our admins here last week, and we're just, one of them was the software seemed to be running a little choppy last week, so we're just keeping an eye on it here this week. And we're about good to go here. Due to the fact that we have an hour race and a 20-minute qualifying run, we're already at an hour and a half racing time here for the race. We definitely want to try and get on point as quickly as possible this season. We want to try and get everything started as on time and as crisp as possible, so we can allow our drivers to still get to bed at a decent time before work the next day, really. It is it's a tricky situation running championships on weeknights, because you have to try and allow for all time zones to get in on the championship in North America, but not make it so late that our Eastern time zone especially is up to like midnight racing, right? We can't do that. So there's a little bit of a fine line that we tread here on these weeknight championships, but they seem to work out pretty well. And I mean, like I said, last week's race was spectacular, above and beyond all my expectations. So it's only going to get better as the rounds continue to progress here this season. All right, we're just going to remind them that the GT3s go out first. We do have a couple drivers that have upgraded their equipment here tonight, so that should be interesting for them. And we'll see how that goes. We'll see how they're transitioning into new equipment, see if it's made them faster, see if it's made them slower, or see if they're still making those adjustments. It'd be quite interesting to see. So, are we ready for some qualifying, chat? I know I'm ready for some qualifying. Oh, hold on. I think we might not have a driver checked in here. Oh, no, we're good. We're good. Okay. And big screen. All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the big screen. So, huge shout out to Ten Tenths Simracing, partner of the series, and an extra special shout out to Race Asylum as well. Their qualifying format, as a matter of fact, has we took a page out of their book, and we decided to run with their qualifying setup in their multi-class series just recently that was ran, and it works so good. It's just an amazing setup that we just we had to take that page out of their book and add it into our championship here. So I want to give a special shout out to Race Asylum, our European counterparts, their cohorts, for that great setup for qualifying. I don't know what we would have done without having that little bit of tidbit of information from Race Asylum, so thank you to Race Asylum for that, and it really makes for some great qualifying runs as well. We have had some suggestions come in from the drivers and of course the admin team after round 1, but we're going to keep rolling it as the schedule states for now and may make a change as the season progresses here. There are some tracks this season that we may be able to put both classes out for the full 20 minutes of qualifying as well, which could be interesting actually. So like I said, it's all real world tracks this season. That means there's some big tracks on the docket, and Le Mans being one of them. So it should be interesting here, but we're going to sit with Ride to Lightspeed. He was very quick in round number 1. Used some good strategy. Unfortunately for him, he just ran a lap short, 2 laps short on tires and fuel last week, and that set him back down into 3rd place, but was up there challenging for the race lead with Ishmael and Miss Devious there for a large part of round 1. There was a great GT3 battle in round 1. The LMPH battle was a little bit more spread out. The LMPHs take a little bit of timing and adjusting to get used to, and I gotta tell you what, Dylan is a beast in these prototypes. He is quick, so he is definitely the guy to beat right now this season, and he's definitely the one that's got the target on his back in the LMPH class. GT3, really hard to say. GT3 is really going to be up for grabs, I think, here all season long. We have a good variety of cars on the track here. We've got Supras, we've got Lexus, we've got some BMWs on track, we've got a Ferrari on track. So we got a little bit of variety in that GT3 class as well, but you know, a lot of big front rear FR, front engine rear wheel drive cars with the big motors for the big top end. As again, a lot of real world tracks this season, so top speed is going to be fairly important for our GT3 class. So we are just finished our out lap and now officially on our hot laps here as we're with Ride to Lightspeed. He's our first GT3 car on track right now, so we'll stick with him and go through the field as we get around. What we should expect to see for times here, I think, out of our GT3 class is 44 is probably on the high end, and I would say probably 45s on the slow end. So I see a very small amount of separation, I think, between our GT3 field today. 43s, 42s are most certainly doable in the GT3 class. I just don't know if we have the drivers that are capable of putting those times down here this season, but we will find out shortly as Ride to Lightspeed is just starting to come up through the chase here, out of the boot, and just 2 more corners, and we're going to see that first qualifying time here in round 2 from the GT45 Gaming Motorsports Multiclass Championship. And that Supra looking beautiful, coming around the corner, gets a nice clean exit there on the final corner, and that's going to give him a really good run out to the start finish line. It is a 44.7 for Ride to Light. The Sheriff's going to come across with a 44.2. Miss Devious is going to come across with a 45.3 and a penalty on that lap. It looks like we got a 45.8 coming from Fast Ginger. Medic with a 42.7. Woo, look at him go. And he's got Ishmael right up his rear bumper here. So a 148.3, and that may have been also a penalty there as well. And then we've got Ishmael with a 144.106. Ooh, boy, we have got us qualifying here already. Maybe we will see some 43s here today. It's going to be an epic race. Absolutely. So welcome in, everybody. We had one driver that wanted to come in and race here tonight, but have not registered for the series yet, so we had to unfortunately turn them away here this evening. But that's the way it goes. We have a very specific set of rules that we follow here at GT45 Gaming Motorsports, and over all of our championships over the last 5 years, we haven't allowed anybody just to jump in and race that isn't registered. And that was the situation tonight. Not that they're not a capable racer, more than capable racer, but we just have a procedure to follow here, and that's all it comes down to. So I mean, if you want to race, and even if you're not going to make all the races in the season, register, do what you can. Get in here, get involved, get on track with our racers, and put yourself up against some of the best racers in the business and see where you stack up. Come on, have some fun. The whole point of this championship is to get some bonding together with a couple of drivers, have drivers practice together in the different classes, exchange that information, and just come out and have a whole lot of fun. Multi-class racing is such a blast, and that was the whole point of the championship this season, was just to start off 2025 with a really, really good championship, and a 43.928 coming from Sheriff Doofy. He takes over that pole position from Ishmael, and ooh boy, it is on like Donkey Kong. 45.3 coming from Miss Devious. Fast Ginger improves with a 45 flat, basically 45.092, putting himself up into 4th place. Medic here is coming through on a nice new fresh lap, and I think he let Ishmael around on that lap, as Ishmael has come through with a 44.734. So currently it is Sheriff Doofy in pole position in the GT3 class here, and pole position is important. There is a very valuable point up for grabs here for that pole position after qualifying for each of the classes. So the GT3 class and the LMPH is also get that bonus point for pole position, and when you have a point per lap in the season plus bonus points, every bonus point is going to matter, because I suspect that the bonus points are going to be the difference maker in the championship by the end of the season. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out, but that is just my suspicion. Alright, so I think we've got the audios in better shape here now. I think. Let me know. Feedback is always great. We did a little bit of tweaking after last week, added a few extra graphics into the stream. We haven't streamed in a while. We're a little bit out of the rhythm here, so just bear with me for a couple weeks. We'll be right back on point again. But Ride to Lightspeed coming through here, and you're still going to have time for 2 more laps here, potentially. 1 for sure. And a 44.57, so it was an improvement there for Ride to Lightspeed, but he's still 4.5 tenths off of Ishmael here in 2nd place, and about 5.5, 6 tenths off of our pole sitter here. And Fast Ginger now into the 44s as well, moving himself up into 3rd place with a 44.542. Ishmael is going to come through, not find an improvement this time around. We've got Miss Devious and Fast Ginger. They're just coming up the S's here right now, so they have made their way around the racetrack. And Medic also finding an improvement with a 48 flat here as well today. So, too far. Still too far. So we are missing 1 GT3 class driver here, 1 LMPH class driver here tonight. Let's go to our Supra here, as we know the Supra is going to be the first one back across the line. And where are we at here? He is just heading into the heel of the boot sector right now, heading up into the chase. We'll get 1 more lap in yet before the end of qualifying. So I mean, he's right on the edge of lap time here. So if he completes this lap, we'll let it go through. Typically, we just want him off the track in the 10-minute zone, but I think so far the way the season has looked, we don't need to pull these guys off. Right at the 10-minute mark, we can let them complete their lap, and then they can pull themselves off the track from there. But we'll wait to see how this week goes. This is a much shorter racetrack than Spa was, so 44.2 from Ride to Lightspeed, and that's going to jump him back up into 3rd position here. I think Miss Devious is coming through, no improvement there. And Fast Ginger's pulled himself off the track there. Sheriff is still sitting in pole position and loses out to Ishmael on the final flying lap there by 0.27 seconds. Losing out by 3/100ths of a second there is Sheriff. And yeah, we're pretty close here. We're just at the bus stop here with the GT3s right now. And that's the last GT3 on the track. The drivers can definitely finish their laps out here. Bear with chat. We have to do a little bit of behind the scenes work here as well. Just to direct our drivers. I mean, these guys all know what's going on here, obviously, but we want to make sure that we're just doing our due diligence, you know, as a racing host. All right, so Dylan 0119, our overall LMPH championship points leader here, is out first on track. He's got J-Set in behind with Egon in behind him. We've got JP in 10th place, and I believe that team is called Feel Good. And we've got TDC Gaming here, our last LMP driver out. So we have 5 LMPH today and 6 GT3 on track. And we still have room for 1 of each car here yet. 2 of each car, I think, even in this lobby as well yet for Monday nights. Tuesdays and Thursdays are still wide open. If you're interested, just let me know. We'll get that comment in there for you too. In the comment section here, once we got just a minute of downtime to get that all posted up in there for everybody. So we're going to stick with our LMPH cars here now, and it's tricky. Unfortunately, GT7 doesn't give us bigger lobby sizes. Otherwise, we could have a huge grid of LMP and GT3 class cars would be fantastic, but we are very limited with our lobby options with only 16 slots available in the lobby, and of course with me being broadcaster, taking one of those slots away from the drivers, that allows 14 racing spots in each lobby for the racers this season. We've all been hoping for those 20-car grids from Gran Turismo, but unfortunately I don't think that the PlayStation 4 system can support it, and I think that is why we don't see 20-plus car grids, unfortunately, here in GT7. But it is what it is. It still makes for great racing and great championships, and I mean, we got great drivers here at GT45 Gaming Motorsports. These guys come out, they give it their all, they have some fun, and they put on a good show, and that's all that matters, coming out and having fun. And, you know, a little bit of bragging rights at the end of the season if you come out on top. So that always helps as well. Our next major championship coming in the summer of 2025 will have a little more on the line than just bragging rights. But this next championship we have coming up this fall, or spring, summer is a pretty special championship as well. So we're just going to leave it at that for now, as of course our focus is on the GT45 Gaming Motorsports Multiclass Championship here today. There was a team aspect in this, and still is a team aspect in this, but even if you don't have a teammate, there are individual championships for grabs for each of the car classes here, and as soon as you get in on track and start collecting points, you can be earning towards that individual championship yourself as well. If you need a teammate, as drivers register, we can pair drivers up for that team class set of points, but the individual part of the racing is definitely the important one here this season. And as Dylan comes through, there is a 130.278. Now, I'm not sure what to expect out of the guys for times here tonight. Egon is going to jump ahead of J-Set there with a 33.1. J-Set is on a 35.0 there. TDC is coming through with a 32.7. That's going to put him in second place, and we've got JP coming through here with a 133.5 and a penalty, so he actually didn't get that lap registered. So he's down a lap here. It's a good thing that these guys are the last ones out and get to take the checkered flag, because he should get that extra lap to make up for that void lap with the penalty. So basically what happens is if you pick up a penalty past the penalty serving zone and you cross the start finish line with that penalty over your car, that's going to void your lap here in Gran Turismo. It's going to be a disqualified qualifying lap essentially. So that's why we don't see him registered in the timing here yet so far. He is one of our drivers that has just upgraded to new equipment here as well. So woohoo! Cat getting it a little bit wrong there as he was heading up the hill. Out around the toe and into the hill there, but he managed to keep it out of the wall there. He definitely has some dirty tires. He picks up the penalty there, so that is going to slow him down just a tiny little bit. Dylan has picked up some damage somewhere along the way, so that's not ideal for his lap. We've got Egon back out. He's on an out lap. He had to reset there. And we've got J-Set here in fourth. It's going to be a 33.649 there for J-Set that will keep him in fourth place. JP comes through with a registered time of 33.878. So right now, Dylan is 2 seconds on the field here currently at Watkins Glen. And I don't, does anybody have an answer for Dylan this season in these prototype cars? Every time we put this guy in a prototype car, he is a very strong force on the racetrack. And that has not changed this season. That definitely has not changed this season. Alright, so we are going to try and keep the audio balance a little bit better than we did last week. I'm still having a little bit of PC issues. It gets a little bit laggy at times. It's getting slow. It's getting overworked. It's just as the software continues to improve and upgrade, the PC needs to kind of improve and upgrade with the software, and we haven't done that yet. So there's moments where the stream does struggle, so I do apologize if that happens throughout the broadcast. Again, just on old equipment, we need to upgrade. So, but we're here, we're live, and we're rocking and rolling. Dylan comes through literally using every millimeter of the racetrack on exit of the final corner there, but does not find an improvement. Cat is going to be coming through next here. Jay went through with a 132.921. That's going to bump him up into third place, just 0.2 of a second in behind TDC here. And TDC using every millimeter of that final corner exit, just like Dylan does there. And unfortunately for him, does not find an improvement this time around. But the drivers still have 7 minutes with the final lap counter in qualifying here to put down some better laps. Yet we've got Egon here. He is on a flying lap here now after he reset in pit lane. And we've got JP out, who is currently purple here as he heads into the bus stop. Oh, but he gets it wrong. He's going to pick up a huge penalty there. He manages to save it. And, some spicy moments already in these LMPH cars here at Watkins Glen. We've seen Dylan with damage. We've seen TDC get it wrong coming right up in through the toe here. And we just saw JP have a pretty good moment there behind the wheel of that LMPH here. So very, very dicey here around Watkins Glen today. And we're not seeing the tire wear here, obviously, on the cars in qualifying, as there is a zero tire wear and zero fuel consumption in qualifying. Essentially what that does is it puts the cars in optimal condition, puts them at low fuel and on optimal tire condition, which allows them to get their best possible lap times in. Alright, Dylan will not find an improvement this time around. Let's see what Egon has here. Is a 32.643 for last time around there, which put him up into second place. We've got Cat coming through right now. He's just heading out in chase. JP comes through with a 33.6, going to keep him in fifth place there. And boy, these guys are really using all of that final exit here in these LMPHs to really try and maximize exit speed. There's a 33.4 damn Cat as he comes through there, and we're going to sit on board with our current pole sitter here, Dylan, as he heads through the bus stop. We're just heading down in towards the toe right now. And this is the lovely boot section here at Watkins Glen. He comes down in through the laces essentially. Now we're going around the toe, and that takes you up into a short straight run into the heel of the boot, which is basically a 90-degree right-hand corner. One of the harder braking zones here on the racetrack. There's two hard braking zones essentially here on the racetrack, and the rest of them are fairly mild in comparison. And then, of course, up through the chase here, the final three corners here at Watkins Glen, which sets up that final corner and checkered flag here. So we'll sit on with Dylan here. We'll jump over to Jay as soon as Dylan comes across the line. And you get one more time around here as he comes across the start-finish line. And it might be, a 130.762. He missed it by 4 hundredths of a second there. All right, so Jay is coming through next to 32.7. It was an improvement there, but it's still only good enough for fourth place here right now, currently on the grid tonight. We have TDC coming through here right now. Ooh, a little touch on the wall right there. Now, does that kill his momentum as he comes through? It's a 133.144. And let's see where Egon is and JP is. All right, Egon is closer, so we'll sit with Egon first, as Egon's just up into the toe of the root sector here right now, and JP is just coming down the carousel into the toe. And he is up 2.5 tenths so far on that 32.6, so that will just improve his positioning here in second place. And boy, Egon is looking very strong here at Watkins Glen tonight, I tell you what. Looking real good here. Still purple by a tenth and a half. Blue, pardon me, which means an improvement on his personal best here so far in the session. And a little flash of the lights as he comes through there, 32.3, so that gives him a little bit of a cushion on the drivers in behind, TDC Gaming, JSET, and JP chasing here, as JSET's just heading into the chase here right now. A little bit of a rear snap right there as he heads out into the chase, but he manages to keep it underneath of him there, and let's see what he's got. It's not going to be an improvement here, I can tell by the time as he's coming into the final corner, so let's jump back to JP here. Oh, and JP makes hard contact with that end wall there. That is going to be some front end damage on that car, and that is still going to be an improvement. It's a 133.4 there for JP as he comes through there. And we got TDC. He will finish qualifying here with a 133.151, so we still have a couple of guys, I think, flying on track here. No, that is it. Qualifying is officially over, so it is going to be Dylan sitting in pole position here again for our LMPH this week. Another bonus point for him, and in the GT3s it is going to be Ishmael sitting in pole position here, and not by much this time. That margin very slim to Sheriff, 0.027. That is a huge bonus point right there for Ismail over Sheriff, as that was very tight qualifying between our GT3 class. And I mean, right light speed's only 2 tenths in behind as well. Fast Ginger's only half a second. So very well done. Very, very well done by all 12 of our drivers here today. 11. All right, so we're just going to take some screenshots here. It is a 130.7 for Dylan. Egon is 1.5 seconds behind with a 132.3. So Dylan is looking pretty strong here right off the bat in this race to ideally get a good race jump and just try to run away from the field, much like he did last week at Spa. However, something happened midway through the race, and he did almost allow JP to close the gap. Fast Ginger, let's go back here, and we got Ishmael with a 143.9, a 143.92, a 144.2 for Ride Light, and then Fast Ginger with a 44.5 and a 45.3 from Mischievous and a 47.7 from Medic. Medic is an borderline Pro-Am driver still, so he's still learning, and we love it. We love it. All right, 5 minutes to start. So let's talk a little bit more about what we have going on here today. If you're just tuning in, welcome into GT45 Gaming Motorsports Multiclass Championship. This is our second round of our early year championship. We ran round 1 last week at Spa, where we saw Dylan come in first for the LMPH, and we seen Ishmael take the win for GT3. Those are also our class leaders coming into round 2. Today it is Dylan in pole position again and Ismail in pole position again. So they're going to secure those pole position bonus points here again today in round 2. And we're at Watkins Glen. However, the required tire this week is the soft tires. You will not get a lot of life out of these soft tires here at the 4 times tire wear that we have placed for the season. So basically every time that these racers go 1 lap around the racetrack, they have used 4 laps worth of tires. And every time the racers go around the racetrack 1 time this season, they have used 3 laps worth of fuel in their racing cars. So soft tires essentially are going to last maybe 15 minutes tops in this 1 hour race. So we are definitely going to see some different strategies from our drivers here. We may see some hard tire starts. We may see 2 mediums and a soft run. We may see a driver start on softs, run 5 laps, and just ditch to the mediums. There's so many different possibilities for the strategies, but the soft tires being mandatory here today. It'll be interesting to see how the drivers decide to operate that because time on the racetrack now matters this season. It's not just a set point scale for first through 14th or 15th place. It is a point per lap plus bonus points. So if you get 29 laps in and the whole field is on the lead lap with you, they have all got 29 points with you, which means those bonus points become very, very crucial. The bonus points this season are 1 point for pole position, 1 point for fastest lap, 3 points for first place, 2 points for second place, and 1 point for third place, because obviously our podium finishers need to have a little bit of extra bonus for, of course, being in the top 3 in their division or in their class per round. So that is basically where we're going to see a lot of the separation, I think, this season in standings is going to be these ever so important bonus points that are up for grabs this season. So each racing round, essentially, there is an additional potential 5 bonus points available for a driver if they can clean sweep, much like Dylan did last week. All right, we got 2 minutes to race start. Again, just want to say a huge thank you to our partners, Ten Tenths Simracing. Obviously, a huge partner of the series here, a big part of the development and what happened in behind the scenes to get this thing up and on screen for everybody to watch and of course, come and race. And a huge shout out to Race Asylum as well for some of the setups within the qualifying regulations. We have basically literally taken a page right out of their book and added it to the series, and we can't thank them enough for the amazing qualifying setup that they have for these multi-class races. So thank you, of course, to Race Asylum for that as well. And thank you to the viewers for tuning in, hanging out with us, and watching the race while everything's going on. And, of course, to our racers coming on track and giving us something to watch. I mean, we can't do it without the racers either. So, I mean, all around, thank you to everybody in behind the scenes for making a championship what it is. Got 1 minute to race start. We did have a red flag last week, and it was put across as a suggestion that maybe we do a rolling start. We are going to leave it as a grid start with a false start check this week, see how it goes, and if we have more complications, then we will seriously consider changing up how we start our grids. It is a little tricky with the multi-classes. The GT3s may get a better starting run than the prototypes, which could cause a little bit of an accordion effect going into turn 1 here today. So that's going to be interesting to see how the drivers handle turn 1. Spa, we started on the 24-hour layout, so the drivers actually started on the straight going up into Eau Rouge and L'Arrêtion, which allowed the drivers to kind of sort themselves out without having to navigate turn 1. So this is actually going to be the first race of the season where all 12 or 14 racers in the 2 different classes of cars are going to come into turn 1 relatively at the same point in time. So it should be interesting to see if how the drivers manage that. Give them an extra 30 seconds just in case somebody hadn't thought about what their starting tire is. We just like to make sure that, you know, again, fair play is really an important thing here at GT45 Gaming. And we always want to remain consistent through our championships. And we allowed the extra 30 seconds and the tire warning, of course, before we started last week. We will continue that trend throughout the season. So consistency really is key. And that's what keeps the racers wanting to come back and race. So, you just got to stick to our guns, right? I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's a good thing, JP. That's a good thing, my man. All right, racers, viewers, let's go racing. Again, to all of our viewers and racers, I gave great feedback from last week. We really do appreciate it and hope we have sorted some of that out for this week for everybody. So let's just get all the good information on the screen for everybody and get the stuff that doesn't need to be there. Kick them tires, light them fires. We're going racing, chat. We got 3 red, 4 red, 5 red, waiting for the green, waiting. Go, go, go. We are green, 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 and we are off. The Sheriff got a really good start there. You seen he had to kind of just check up there to make sure he didn't get back into the back end of Egon in that prototype there. And as Dylan and Egon head into turn 1 side by side, it is going to be Dylan that is going to edge Egon out. Egon compromising his exit just a tiny little bit there. That is going to allow J-Set to get the run on him up and through the S's, and Jay's going to get the pass done. Egon now down into 3rd place, and now he's got TDC right on his left side, and Egon is under fire very early on, side by side as we head through the bus stop, and Egon is going to edge out TDC Gaming. Ooh, a little bit wide there, and we are getting it all wrong. Woo-hoo-hoo. What a great job by TDC Gaming and JP to avoid that. Great job by Egon keeping the car out of the wall, keeping it safe, but now he's got some GT3 traffic to worry about here, and he's going to have to navigate around, ride the light speed there. But great job by all the racers right there to keep themselves out of trouble. Whew. All right, GT3 class, it is Ride the Light, Ishmael, and Sheriff Doofy in the top 3 here right now. And of course, Ride the Light Speed now has a prototype right up on his rear end here, as Egon's got to re-navigate around our top 3 here in GT3. And Ride the Light Speed using some strategy right there, pulls out, uses the slipstream with that LMPH to get side by side with Sheriff Doofy in battle for 2nd place. And Sheriff Doofy is going to hold the position as we head down into the chase here. Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, this GT3 battle last week was incredible, and I think we're going to see the same thing. And what a pass right there by Ride the Light Speed. That was textbook right there coming into the chase. Beautiful move up into P2, right in behind the race leader. And man, this GT3 class is going to be a bomb season, I think, for these GT3 cars. They are feisty, they are very close in pace, and I think we are going to see some extremely epic races coming from these drivers. Let's see if we can go get another look at that pass. Oh, we just missed it, unfortunately. I took too long to save it. I apologize to the viewers. We could have definitely got a second look at that. All right, let's go see what's heading up into our LMP1s here. We got Dylan 2.8 seconds up the road already. J-Set with that early pass on Egon up the S's has now secured that spot, 2 seconds. Egon with a little bit of a moment on the track there, which was a little scary, a little tense, but great save and great reaction by JP and TDC in behind as well. So JP here now up into P3. Egon is back up into P4. Ishmael here is in 5th place, and TDC must have made a mistake here somewhere, because he is trying to navigate around the GT3 cars, and he got it all kinds of wrong going through the bus stop there. And again, the rule is that the lap car has to hold their line and remain predictable. It is up to, in this case, the LMPH or TDC Gaming to find a safe way around. He decided to take the outside of the carousel coming into the bus stop and just got it a little bit wrong. But no harm, no foul. He does get around the GT3 cars here, and a couple of early mistakes from our prototype drivers has really mixed things up a little bit here in that GT3 chase. But Egon, JP is now all over J-Set here for 2nd place. So let's stick with this battle here for a moment. It is really hard to keep track of everything going on between the two classes here, but we'll do our best for everybody. So JP is very strongly in the toe of J-Set here as we head down the front straight on lap number 3, heading into turn number 1. It's going to be very interesting to see the tire strategies here from each of our racers, and I'm actually going to go take a peek at that right now. Interesting. We got some different tire strategies going on here. We do have quite the variation of tire strategies going on here in our race today. Love it. Love it. We got some strategy happening, chat. This is going to be an interesting race. We have multiple different types of tires on the racetrack from both classes of cars. Should be interesting. This should be interesting. So Dylan 5.7 seconds up the road on J-Set. Does have a tire advantage currently. J-Set here is 1.1 second ahead of JP here in 3rd place. Egon is 7.3 seconds in behind. So Egon was right there. Made that mistake. Now is trying to close back in. And TDC Gaming, much of the same thing. He was up there in the podium as well for a few moments and then made a mistake and now closing back in as well. So we have 2 of our LMPH drivers a little bit on the back foot here at the moment, but these GT3 guys and gals, hiccups, pardon me, are going to have a fight here today for sure. This is a very high-speed track, Watkins Glen. Like I said, very few hard braking zones in this racetrack. So again, these front-engine rear-wheel drive cars are very, very popular on these types of racetracks, and that's why we're seeing so many front-engine rear-wheel drive cars this season. The Supra being a beast. This car is a beast if you know how to drive it in a high-power situation. And Ride the Light Speed has shown that he definitely knows how to drive this car, as he is currently leading the GT3 class. So he has made his way around Ishmael here. Ishmael is now in second place, and Sheriff is just nibbling here right now, right on the back door. And then you can see we've got Fast Ginger and Miss Devious just in behind by a couple of seconds here as well as they come out of the chase into the final corner. So we're just going to stick with this battle here for a moment, and we're keeping our eye on that LMPH situation here as well. 2 seconds separating Ride Light Speed from Ishmael, and Ishmael has about half a second over Sheriff here currently. So let's get back to this battle right here. Let's jump on board with JP here as he is in behind JSet. Now, is he working with JSet or is he looking to get a pass done on JSet, I guess is the bigger question here. He has an opportunity right here to make the pass and chooses not to. So I feel like that he's just kind of working together with JSet right now. I guess the bigger question is, does he know what we know? We're not going to say what, we're just going to ask the question. And I think that's what it is. We're just seeing a little bit of cooperation here between second and third place right now. We're not seeing any battling. What happened last week was second and third place battled for the first couple of laps to kind of sort that position out between the two of them, and that allowed Dylan to run away like 13 seconds up the road. So this week we're seeing something a little bit different out of these guys. I mean, he's still 9 seconds up the road, but not nowhere near as far up the road as he was at Spa. Just due to the simple fact that these guys are not hard battling for the first 2-3 laps this time. We're seeing a different strategy coming from our second and third place drivers here this week. We've got Egon here sitting in fourth place. He is 6.8 seconds in behind. And just a little bit of perspective here on what it kind of looks like inside these LMPH cars. Now, I believe JP and... oh, we just seen a pass right there. Oh. Saving. Alright, let's get it done. Got the replay this time. Alright, so as we head up the S's heading in towards the bus stop here, we see a good run coming from JP. He's just going to take it up the inside there, side by side through the bus stop. Gets the good run, and Jay just tucks right in behind as we head down in through the carousel there. So a great pass there from JP, and that's going to move him up into second position here currently in the LMPH class tonight. So JSet now in third place, going to try and sit in the toe of JP. Egon is 6.5 seconds down the road from JSet and JP, but closing in, and TDC Gaming is still about 5.7 seconds away, so he's not losing any time, but he's also not really gaining anything back currently at the moment. And you can see there's 36 seconds between the LMPH and the GT3 cars today. We should probably see 4 passes, maybe 5, between the two classes here today, I think. It all depends on kind of the pace of the race. So Ride the Light right now currently has a 3.5 second gap over Ishmael in 7th place, who is our 2nd place GT3 class driver currently. He currently has 2 seconds over 10 Tenths Fast Ginger. First race of the season for him, coming in and pairing up with teammate Egon, as Egon's original teammate is unable to race on Mondays, unfortunately. That leaves Sheriff Doofy here in 4th position in the GT3 class, 3.2 seconds in behind Fast Ginger. And Miss Devious is right there in behind as well, 1.3 seconds in behind Sheriff. And then we've got Medic just a little bit off the beaten path here. But again, we have drivers of all skill levels here this season. And the idea was we were going to have 3 full lobbies. And with the new point system and everything that was going on with the championship, the skill gap shouldn't have mattered too much just due to the point system. So it's unfortunate that we have a smaller set of numbers here this season, because I think that if we had 3 full lobbies, I think we would have an amazing championship as far as points goes, and how close that all of these drivers end up being at the end of the season, no matter what your skill level is. So we appreciate all of our racers, no matter how fast they are. They come out every week and they put in their paces, they put in that seat time. And, you know, if they feel like they're struggling a little bit, they just got to reach out, and we'll most certainly give them a hand. So Dylan going to pass Medic here for the first time on lap number 6, and will probably be about another lap before he sees the rest of the GT3 class, as Medic is just a little bit in behind the pack here at the moment. We've got JP here in 2nd place, and we've got JSet right in behind there in 3rd place. Still half a second in behind, so just chilling right now in tow, just sticking with him. We've got Egon in 4th place, 6.5 seconds in behind J and JP, so he's not really gaining right now, he's just kind of maintaining. And TDC is coming into pit lane to make a scheduled pit stop here. So as you can see, what we were talking about at the beginning of the broadcast, did not get a whole lot of life out of that set of tires there, and is going to have to make that early pit stop. So I think 2-stop strategies are definitely going to be happening here today. We're not going to be seeing any 1-stops here today, and potentially even 3 stops, depending on what the drivers' strategies are for their race cars. So TDC should still come out ahead of Ride the Lightspeed when he comes out of pit lane here. It's about a 42 second pit stop with a tire and fuel service here. Fuel obviously isn't really going to be as much of an issue this week as it was last week with the cars either. So that's the beautiful thing. Some rounds of racing, the tires are going to be more aggressive. Some rounds of racing, the fuel is going to be more aggressive. So you really need to put the time and the work in to really figure out what kind of race you're dealing with and how to manage your car to get, again, the maximum amount of laps you can get out of your class for that 1 hour of racing, because that definitely matters for your points. Fast Ginger here in 8th position and looking good. 2.7 seconds in behind Ismail right now, and Sheriff is about 2.8 seconds in behind Fast Ginger, and looks like Dylan is now caught that GT3 pack. So again, the rule is that the GT3 cars in this situation are just to hold the racing line, and it is up to the LMPH driver to find a safe way around. That keeps predictability in play. The LMPH driver knows exactly what that GT3 car is going to do, or should do, and that allows him to, or her, to make a more informed decision on where, when, and how to make that pass around that GT3 car. And you can see Dylan is doing a really great job of that here right now. He just took advantage, caught up to Sheriff at a very good spot in the racetrack. And much of the same thing here as he catches up to Fast Ginger as well. He caught up to him in a very good spot on the racetrack and just takes that inside line and gets it done. No time lost to either one of the 2 drivers there. So absolutely great job here so far by the field in our first set of LMPH passing GT3 cars. And this is crazy. Let's jump on board with Dylan here as he absolutely just ramps up on these GT3 cars. The closing speed from the LMPH car to these GT3 cars is just absolutely insane. And a little bit of an extra movement there from JP, and Dylan had to react there, but JP is again in that VR, so he may not have been fully aware that Dylan was right where he was, and JP was just moving over to the racing line there, because that is quote-unquote protocol for this situation. So, and you can see, I mean, that GT3 car already gone. You can barely see him here. So we're going to see him catch up to Ride the Light, I believe that is. Just up ahead of him here, or Ishmael. That might be Ismail's. I'm not sure which one it is. And of course he'll do the same thing. So by the time we get to the end of the S's here, he is going to catch his teammate, that Supra. That is Ride the Light speed up ahead of him here. And Ride the Light just moves over, pulls off that racing line. This is one of the designated blue flag zones. That was an ideal situation right there. And I mean, that cost Ride the Lightspeed nothing. All he did was just move over. It cost him maybe a couple hundredths of a second to pull off the line to let him through there. So great job here so far from our LMPH to our GT3 class cars, and now we've kind of got the whole group of them all together here. Now this is when things start getting interesting. We've got JP and JSet navigating these guys here now as well. JP's just gotten around Fast Ginger. JSet's just working his way around Sheriff here right now, and that has opened up a gap a little bit between JP and JSet here, so that worked out really well for JP and not so well for Jay, as again, where you catch that traffic sometimes can really make a big difference in gaining or losing on the person you're chasing or running away from as well. And a big snap there, good save from JSet. And you can see Fast Ginger's just, again, pulling off the racing line, letting that LMPH through in one of those designated blue flag zones. So it is very clear that the drivers are more than aware of what the procedures and the situations are here in the championship very early on in the season. And that is a great sign, because that means we are just in for some superiorly fantastic racing all season long. That's all that tells me. The drivers have read the rules, they're aware of the procedure, they're aware of protocol, and that means they are focused on racing. Love it. Absolutely love it. Alright, so TDC is in 5th for LMPH. Let's move down to our GT3 class cars here. Let's check on everybody. We have made seen only one pit stop here so far from TDC Gaming, but again, different tire strategies from all of our drivers here today. So we have seen drivers start on every tire compound. Every tire compound is currently in play on the racetrack, and it is going to make for an interesting race today, I think. These strategies are going to potentially play into the favor of some over others. We'll have to wait and see. It is Ismail here in second place, and I mean 7.9 seconds in behind Ride the Light right now. Ride the Light is just flying around this racetrack, but the bigger question is, do they have the tire strategy correct? All right, so we got Fast Ginger now coming into pit lane. He's making his first scheduled pit stop here today as well. Sheriff is now going to move up into third position here in the GT3 class. That puts Mischievous in fourth position GT3 class, and Fast Ginger coming out of pit lane there with a half a second penalty. Unfortunately, we got Medic also coming out for a scheduled pit stop here as well. Now, in case the drivers are unaware, the soft tire only needs to be used essentially for one lap. That's it. And then you don't have to be on it anymore. So the mediums and hard tires are in play. You are most certainly allowed to use as many sets of tires as you want in this championship, as long as you use the required set every week. That's it. It just has to touch the racetrack. As soon as it touches the racing surface, that tire mandate is met. Easy peasy. So we're going to be seeing some pit stops, I think, coming from a large part of our field here pretty soon. Dylan has a 14-second gap over JP, currently in second place in LMPH. Jay is 5.2 seconds in behind JP in the LMPH here as well. A little bit of lap traffic separating those two a little bit, and now JP is just trying to open that gap up. Egon is 5.2 seconds in behind Jay. Set that has actually gained on Jay a little bit here over the last few laps, about a second, and you can see he's just navigating around that. Our GT3 class leader here right now was Egon in fourth position, and that puts TDC Gaming here in fifth place. He's about 30 seconds in behind the field right now, but he has also made a pit stop over the field so far. Ride Light here has a 8-second gap in the GT3 class. This is our GT3 class race leader, and let's sit on board with our GT3 class race leader here for a minute as he navigates himself around the laces into the toe, and now as we head up out of the heel here, that's going to take us up into the chase. So this is a 180 fully uphill semi-cambered corner, and you have to be careful on your exit throttle because you can definitely push yourself out wide going up the hill, but you don't need to brake quite as much going into the corner as you would normally into a downhill corner, obviously, because you're going uphill. You're going to lose momentum naturally by just moving up the hill. So there's a fine line of how much braking you need to use heading into the heel sector here at Watkins Glen due to that huge uphill climb of that 180-degree corner of the heel. So as we head out of the chase into the final corner here, let's see what Ride the Light is going to come through with here. And it seems to me that the GT3 cars are a little better on the tires than those LMPH here today as well. So we have no idea what the fastest lap for our GT3 class is here currently either. Dylan has made a pit stop there that has put him in third place. Ismail is still in second place and still rolling on his starting tires, same as Sheriff here and Miss Devious, and we've got TDC Gaming navigating around him here, so we're almost 3 wide as we head up the front straight there. And Sheriff sees Cat there and just pulls back into the racing line. I think he was trying to break the slipstream from Miss Devious there, not to allow Miss Devious to close back in on him there, but realized that LMPH car was there and had to pull back into the racing line, which allowed Miss Devious literally just to tuck right back into the slipstream there. So, battle on between those two here. Fast Ginger currently sitting in 10th place, but has made a pit stop, and Medic as well has made a pit stop here in 11th place, so they are out of sequence in a sense in time, about 30 seconds further behind than they would be normally right now due to those pit stops. So it is JP now leading the race with that pit stop from Dylan last lap. Jay said here is in second place, and Dylan actually came out just in behind Jay here and is applying a little bit of pressure here now. So are we going to see the move? We're going to stick with this here for a minute as this is a positional battle. Wow, that was a hard snap right there by Jay. He manages to keep the car underneath him. He does clip the wall, and he is going to pick up a little bit of aero and suspension damage, but the damage model is on light this season, so that will go away in 30 seconds. We don't put the damage model on heavy for these high downforce cars because of the nature of the inconsistency of the damage model in the game currently. heavy damage, even if you go to give a bump draft per se to a driver, a gentle bump draft can be enough to heavily damage your front or rear suspension on the car. So we take the heavy damage model off for high downforce cars for the simple fact is because sometimes there's just little bumping and grinding going on with these cars. It's just the nature of high downforce cars, and that bumping and grinding at times can cause unnecessary damage that really shouldn't have happened for the amount of contact that was made between the drivers. So that's why we're using the light damage model this season, just due to the inconsistency of that heavy damage model. It is too unpredictable what kind of damage you're going to pick up for what kind of contact. Light damage seems a lot more consistent, and of course that damage does go away after 30 seconds. So normally we run on heavy damage, but just due to the nature of the championship and the cars that we have on track this season, it was a safety call to keep the damage on light this season. Especially with the difference of speed between the LMPH and the GT3 cars, it is a very high possibility that there could be an incident between the two classes of cars at some point throughout the season to just a miscalculation of the speed difference or a mistake by one of the drivers. Anything can happen, right? And again, we don't want the heavy damage model to affect that either, just because a small mistake was made. Again, fair play. We just want the drivers to have fun this season. We've been away for a few months with championships. We want to kind of just get the racers back into the rhythm, get them into the flow of what we have going on here at GT45 Gaming Motorsports, and get them into the rhythm. So TDC getting around and ride the light there, and it was a little bit tricky there, it seemed like, for him, as he was maybe just picking his spot. But Jay now coming out of pit lane, he does pick up the big old 3-second penalty, it looks like, on entry there, so that is not ideal, and has him about 28 seconds in behind Dylan here, and JP has yet to pit, so JP should settle back right in nearby. Egon, however, is 1.2 seconds in behind Jay here now, so very interesting. But again, the tire strategy this week is fantastic. Oh my god, I'm loving this tire strategy this week. This is beautiful. This is what we hope to see, different strategies, different ideas in the drivers' heads, to see how it plays out today. We got TDC Gaming here in 5th place. I mean, he had a great race start here today. Went from like 5th to 3rd place, and then had a moment, got it collected up, and he's just trying to track down the rest of the LMPH drivers here. I mean, he's only 6.2 seconds in behind, so he's not that far behind. He's still on the lead lap with those guys, so I mean, he's not really losing anything as far as points goes right now, except for, of course, those ever so important bonus points, which right now, that fastest lap position also being held by Dylan with a 132.493 currently. We got Ismail here in 2nd place here in the GT3 class. For some reason, we missed our race leader, so let's jump up to our GT3 leader here, and we got yellow flag waving up ahead, and I see Jay set here in P5, so that means Jay has made a mistake at some point here on the racetrack, and ooh, where is he here? The yellow flag is still waving. There we go. Oh, he was way off track there, as he I think he seen the GT3 class leader coming and just decided to wait and let him go by. So oof, that's a tough one there for Jay as he comes around and now finds himself sitting in 5th place here in LMPH. But I mean, we're only 24 minutes into this race, lots of time left. Anything can happen. So now we're going to see this transition between LMPH and GT3 happen here as we head around turn 1 up into the S's. Jay just gets a nice run up the inside there. Of course, that high downforce car can really plant the power down and just send it up the inside like that. And that's usually a pretty simple pass. And he gets the job done there on ride light speed and back up the road, trying to chase down now TDC Gaming. So it's Ride Light here in 1st place. He's got 7.6 second gap over Ismail, who is sitting in 7th place currently. Miss Devious is in 3rd position here with a 5-second gap over Sheriff. Sheriff is got 23 seconds over Fast Ginger, but our top 4 in GT3 have yet to make their first pit stops. Fast Ginger and Medic have made a pit stop here so far in the race today, and two pit stops for Medic here so far. And I think Medic potentially maybe misunderstood the tire mandate a little bit, I think, just judging based off what I'm saying. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. It's just an educated guess. only because of how I seen that pit stop strategy, and then not too long after we said that you don't have to use softs all race long, we see that pit stop come in. Of course, he can go on a different tire compound, so maybe a little bit of a misunderstanding on the tire mandate there from Medic. We'll reach out to him privately and just make sure he's on the understanding of what the tire mandates are for each week, because obviously that hurts the driver with their strategy and of course time on track. We don't want to see that. We want him to have fun. We want him to enjoy what he's doing. And reach out, Medic. We'll get you in the team server and we'll get you on practice with the drivers, and we'll get you out there with the guys and teach you what we teach our guys, and help you out a little bit, my man. That's what we're all about here. Alright, so Red Lightspeed has made pit stop here, so our GT3 class leader is now into pit lane. So Dylan is now back in the race lead. He has managed to get his way around JP. He is closing in on what looks to be Miss Devious here right now in that Lexus, and this would be an easy pass for Dylan here as he just gets a good run out of the final corner, takes up the inside, one and done, see you later, and he's going to continue on down the racetrack. So JP's finally coming in to make that pit stop, which now puts Egon in third place, 30 seconds in behind. There is potential for Egon to potentially even grab second place from JP here as he comes around. So we'll stick with Egon here for a minute, and then we'll go back down into our GT3 class and see what's shaking after some pit stops. We're trying to keep my audio consistent. One of the biggest things we had last week was that my audio was in and out, and I think that's just because I was moving away and towards my microphone more than anything else. So we're really trying to just stay in one spot and not change our audios too much. So I do apologize to our viewers. I know it's hard to want to watch a full video when the audio is changing and things are subtly going wrong. So I do apologize again for just getting back into the rhythm. No excuses, just letting you know what's going on. And they're only going to keep getting better and better. So moving and grooving. That is what's happening here, and Egon is literally 0.3 of a second off of JP after JP comes out of pit lane here. So battle on. They also have to navigate around Fast Ginger going down through the carousel here. I mean, JP is on some really fresh tires, so they're a little bit cold here. Egon is on some scrubbed-in tires at this point, but JP got a good run there, and he's actually pulling a gap on Egon right now. He's almost got that gap opened up to a full second, so Egon losing a little bit of time navigating around Fast Ginger there. And I think that might have been a little bit of caution going on the outside of the carousel after what we've seen on lap 1. Going through the carousel there, he just went on the outside, and a very slow spin coming out of the carousel in front of JP and TDC Gaming, and both those drivers had to take evasive maneuvers, go way off racetrack to avoid contact, but no harm, no foul. And a great save by Egon. So this is a good recovery here right now for Egon after that spin. And only 0.4 of a second currently in behind JP here right now. So he is having a doozy currently. TDC Gaming here is in 4th place, 10 seconds in behind, and J-Set with that spin coming out of the boot sector. Now 12 seconds in behind the LMPH pack. So 10 Tenths Miss Devious now leading the GT3 class, as she has yet to make her first pit stop. So she is going to come through and lead a lap or two here on the track before she makes her pit stop. Ride Lightspeed 6.6 seconds in behind Miss Devious will retain that race lead once she makes that pit stop. Ismail has also made his pit stop, and he is about 6.5 seconds in behind Ride Lightspeed right now. And you see JP and Egon closing in on him here. So, and I mean, he's doing everything right. He's just holding his line, and these LMPH guys got to find a way around, and great job right there. That was a great transition between the guys. And 2 of these 3 drivers are in VR right now. Both those VR drivers are in that LMPH car. So great job by those guys. Absolutely great job. I love seeing the VR2 drivers navigate tight quarters like this in GT7 because it is a genuine skill. They have to turn where they want to look. They have to try and find that visual, find out exactly that distance to them and the other car, still maintaining their line on racetrack and paying attention to braking zones, corners, and the nuances of Watkins Glen. So the VR2 drivers, just got to really give them a round of applause, because I feel like they have a lot more to do behind the wheel in these races compared to the vast majority of our GT7 racers that are not using the VR2 and are just on our computer screens or TV screens. The VR2 drivers have a lot more going on. They have a lot less information to rely on screen as well. And however, they see the track so much better in VR2, I think, compared to us regular racers on our TVs. And and computer screens. So I love watching the VR2 racers. We have 3 for sure I know of in this lobby right now. Misdevious is one of them, JP is one of them, and Egon is one of them. I'm not 100% sure about the rest of the pack. We're going to have to ask our drivers here in the off week in between racing rounds and see if there is any more VR drivers here in the grid this season. But VR2 is becoming popular, and will only become more popular, of course, as that VR2 starts to drop in price. We'll start to see more and more racers jump in behind those VR2 headsets, and that really creates an interesting dynamic, I think, in these races, because now we used to have wheel and pedal drivers versus controller drivers, and that was the big thing for however many years now in Gran Turismo through GT Sport, and of course moving into GT7. But now we've got VR2, and VR2 has gotten popular. VR was there for PlayStation 4, but didn't seem as popular. There were some VR drivers on Gran Turismo, but very, very few. VR2, lots of VR2 drivers in Gran Turismo right now, so it really adds dynamics. So now we've got wheel pedal TV computer screen drivers, we've got pad TV computer screen drivers, and we've got VR2 wheel drivers or pad drivers. So 4 different types of racing going on at the same time on a racetrack, potentially in any given racing situation. And as a racer, we have to consider that potentially drivers are using VR too. It's just something we have to always consider now, because it is becoming very popular. So Egon coming into pit lane, he is going to make a pit stop here, and this will be his 2nd pit stop of the race. Jay's coming around, should grab that spot from Egon as he comes around here, and he does. Gonna move up into P4, catches a little bit of that track edge on the braking there, but doesn't seem to phase him too much there. And is he going to come out ahead of Egon? He does come out ahead of Egon there, and he is rolling up on Ismail in that BMW, our current 3rd place GT3 driver at the moment. So we're going to see him navigate around. Ooh, let's go take a look at what we got going on here. Ride Lightspeed just making his way around Misdevious here, entering into the bus stop, and ooh, a little bit of LMPH traffic helping that along there, and Misdevious is going to just be at the mercy of that Supra there on the inside line, and really tight quarters at the bus stop. A great job by the 2 racers right there to get through nice and tidy and clean. And we have seen a ton of action in that bus stop tonight, haven't we? That has been absolutely great action all night long in that bus stop. So Ten Tenths Misdevious here sitting in 7th place, but does still need to make that first pit stop, so I'm assuming we're going to be seeing that coming very soon here. We've got Ismail in 8th position. We've got Fast Ginger in 9th, so 4th place in the GT3 class here today, and he's about 19 seconds behind Ismail. Sheriff is 4 seconds in behind Fast Ginger, and we've got Medic in 6th place here in the GT3 class, about 30 seconds in behind him, but it has made an extra pit stop over the field, which is about, puts him really at a 7-second gap in hindsight. But Dylan, 119. Dylan, I mean, this guy is just untouchable early on this season. He got 38-second gap, has used a very strong tire strategy, I want to say. And we still got 27 minutes left of the race here yet. He does have to use that soft tire at some point still in this race. So are we going to see an additional stop coming from Dylan? Because I don't know if he can get it into the soft tire window before he's going to have to get off those tires he's currently running on. So JP is 23 seconds ahead of JSet. JSet had a moment on track that definitely cost him some time, so he is finding himself chasing. Egon is 20 seconds in behind JSet with a pit stop in hand on Jay currently, and TDC Gaming is coming through after his, I think that's his 2nd stop now, and he's just going to settle in. Ooh, there might have been a little bit of contact there between the 2 cars potentially. Let's take a quick look at what happened here as Sheriff was coming around. Ooh, there might have been some small contact there between TDC and Sheriff. May have been. We'll have to wait and see if that, of course, ends up in the stewarding office here post-race. But it looked like there was. Doesn't mean there was. It could have very well just been that Lexus slipped out underneath, but just based off the positioning on the racetrack and the speed that those drivers are at, I feel like that was just a very small amount of contact on the right quarter panel of that Lexus there, unfortunately, and I put him around. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, we'll wait and see what happens here post-race of that. Of course, after these races, we have a stewarding office. So what happens is if the drivers feel like there was an incident that cost them time or possibly position on the racetrack, they can file what we call an incident report. And within that incident report, of course, they have to provide information, specific information, and some evidence, of course, to go with that. And then we send that to our stewarding office, and our stewards go ahead and assess that incident. And if they feel that a penalty is warranted, they will issue corrective action to essentially sort or even out what happened on the racetrack post-race. I mean, it never really evens itself out fully, but that's the idea behind the process. And of course, then from there, if the drivers feel like that decision is the wrong decision and they can prove it and have other evidence to so forth prove that, they do have 24 hours to appeal the final steward's decision, which goes outside of GT45 Gaming Motorsports to an outside stewarding team and is assessed by that stewarding team. And that stewarding team has the override, if necessary, that they feel like we made, or our stewarding office has made a better call. So we do have lots of processes in place. There's lots of procedures, lots of things going on in the championship. There isn't every championship you race in. We're just very, very thorough here at GT45. Again, we've been doing this for a few years now, so we have, gone through the motions and done the bumps and grinds of championship racing, and we've learned our hard lessons, and we've had our great moments, right? So this is just accumulation of 5 years of work. It's all this really is. But it has been a great 5 years. It has really been a great 5 years, and it continues just to keep rocking and rolling. So Miss Devious here is currently sitting in 4th place in the GT3 class after her pit stop. Sheriff is 11.7 seconds behind. Now, I mean, potentially he was probably going to be right on top of Miss Devious, I think, if it wasn't for whatever happened to the S's there with the LMPH car. But he'll put his head down and he'll continue to do whatever he's got going on. There's a lot of race left. There's still 23 and a half minutes left. That is plenty of time. All right, so Dylan in for another pit stop here, and that is going to be his second pit stop of the race. So we did speculate that we didn't think he could quite make it far enough on that set of tires to get into that soft tire window. We were 100% correct on that. So, how is that going to change the positioning in the field here? Because judging by what I'm seeing is a lot of these drivers are only going to need to make 2 stops, where Dylan is going to have to make an additional stop here right now. And you can see the skies are getting very overcast as well right now currently on the racetrack, which is going to cool that racetrack down slightly. That may be good for the tires, but it may also make the racetrack a little bit slick, so the drivers are going to have to make those adaptations. Jay said here in 3rd place, he's 21 seconds in behind JP, but now with that pit stop done, as we head into the bus stop here, Dylan is only 9.3 seconds ahead of JP, so that is the beauty about different tire strategies. It can very, very much so close a race back up very quickly. Jay said here 21 seconds in behind in 3rd place. Egon's 27 seconds in behind Jay said here in 4th place, but does have an extra pit stop over that driver. TDC Gaming is in 5th place here in the LMPH. It looks like he has just navigated his way around Ismail there and almost had a moment on the racetrack. So let's head to our GT3 class here. Our race leader in the GT3 class currently is Ride Lightspeed. He is 3.8 seconds ahead of Ismail, who won our race last week. And he's got 29 seconds to get to the 3rd place driver. So right now, the way that strategies are sitting is this battle kind of right now for the race lead for GT3 seems like is between Ride Light and Ismail. However, tire strategies again could change all of that in the final 10-15 minutes of this race. Ten Tenths Miss Devious, our only female competitor here this season, doing what she does best and just moving and grooving on the racetrack in that VR2. She is a very quick race car driver. She hasn't been away from the racetrack for a little while. Being, real life is real life. Sometimes you just got to take a step away to deal with what's going on in front of us. But has been able to get back on here for the championship, so we love to see that she's back out grinding and turning those wheels on the racetrack. And you know what, she really does genuinely love being behind the race car, and we're just ecstatic to see that she's here and competing to her best. Well, maybe she doesn't think it's to her best, but all our drivers always give it 100% effort, no matter what situation is. When they're on track, they're always giving it their all. We got Fast Ginger 1.9 seconds in behind Miss Devious here. We've got Sheriff 9.5 seconds in closing, so he is gaining on those guys, and we got Medic just a little bit in behind here. Just keeping an eye on everything. Everything seems to be running good tonight. Fantastic. That's what we love to see. That is what we love to see. Alright, so I did say last week that we were going to go live during the nights last week. Unfortunately, my work schedule just was a really tough work week last week. I came home so tired and so sore from work that I just had zero energy to stream. So that is why we didn't have any live streams past Monday last week. Again, this week we'll try to get back to it here. The work week is a little later than it was last week. It shouldn't be quite as wore out after a 10-hour day of work. So we should be able to get some extra content out for our viewers and our community here this week. We're definitely going to give it 100% effort towards it this week. So I missed you, I missed the community, I miss our viewers, I miss our racers, I miss everything that we do here at GT45 Gaming. We have been away for a very long time in real life. Also helping get Ten Tenths Simracing kind of functioning and moving in a very good direction. Ten Tenths Simracing is doing fantastic. The group there is fantastic. It's a genuine family. It really is. And I mean, they're self-sufficient at this point. They don't need their hands held. They know what's going on. They know what they're doing, and they work really good together. So now that we kind of have all of our endeavors in order and functioning properly here again, we should be able to get back to doing what we do and entertaining, hopefully, ideally, anyways. Alright, 11 seconds between Dylan and JP here in LMPH. This race is definitely split up. We have massive different tire strategies here, and that could change. So Egon is 52 seconds in behind JP, and now with Jay making his pit stop, he has Egon in his sights. Bigger question is, though, did he come in too soon on those soft tires? We'll have to wait and see. We got TDC here in 5th place, 15 seconds behind Jay. Ride the Lights here as 1.2 seconds over Ismail. Ismail has just slowly but surely been nibbling away at that Toyota Supra. As we head up towards the S's, that gap is now down to 1.1 seconds. We'll look out for this Beamer. I don't think this Beamer is quite done with this race yet here today and Ride the Light. Now, Ride the Light had a really good shot at the race win at Spa last week. Strategy just bit him in the butt. He just ran a little short on tire and fuel at the end of the race and had to make an extra pit stop, and ultimately that cost him potential battle for first place and put him down into 3rd place. So we'll have to see how he's adjusted with the Toyota Supra this week and see if that adjustment has corrected itself and see if he can hold off the charge of Ismail here. But you can't count Ten Tenths Mischievous out either. She has 30 seconds right now in behind those drivers. I guess the bigger question is once that last pit stop comes through, does that change everything? So we've got JP closing in on his teammate here, Ismail, right now, and he's going to navigate around Ismail. And we're going to jump in here as he goes around our GT3 class leader as well. Pardon me. And I believe that this is the 3rd time now that we've seen our LMPs navigate around our GT3 class. So JP here in 2nd position. We got Jay in 3rd place, Egon in 4th, and TDC Gaming here in 5th place. And you can see he's getting waved the blue flag. Dylan has caught up to TDC here. So this is actually pretty big for the points in a sense, because again, it's a point per lap, a point per completed racing lap this season. So for Dylan to be able to lap one of his class cars is huge. That has given him a point advantage over that driver at that point in the race. Now, he hasn't done it yet. He still has to pass this guy, and this is a situation where TDC does not have to give the position to Dylan. This is a battle. He is allowed to fight that race leader for the lead lap. The question is he going to choose to do it? He does have that 3-second penalty there, so I'm assuming that he's probably not going to, because the 3-second penalty is going to take him out of any opportunity to fight for that lead lap position. So Dylan is just going to be patient here, knowing that TDC has to serve that penalty, and he's going to get a freebie around. So very unfortunate there for Dylan. Very unfortunate there for TDC Gaming, as he is officially going to go a lap down to the LMPH leader here. Alright, let's get back to our GT3 class here. This is a little bit closer right now than our LMPH race is, so we're going to kind of keep an eye on our GT3 class cars here for a couple minutes, and it is Ride the Light Speed teammate, also leading in the LMPHs right now. And I think it's Team Humpty Dumpty. I don't quite have it all memorized yet. Just bear with me on that. We'll have some standings to show everybody here next week as well. We just have not gotten the actual graphics done for last week's standings yet. So, again, just due to me being aggressively tired and working really late last week, I dropped the ball slightly on that, so they are a little bit behind. It happens. But we'll definitely have our standings caught up and back out on time here this week. So we got Ismail here, and I mean, he's been closing the gap up on Ride Light over the last half a dozen laps, so we're definitely going to stick with this battle. We're just going to jump on the outside look of the car here. This would be essentially on top of the windshield, just above the windshield in this camera view. Normally in real life racing we see this in-car as opposed to outside the car, but also, they do things slightly different. But it gives a good perspective on what the drivers are dealing with, right? So, I mean, we can look around the car, we can see everything that's going on the outside. You can kind of see what the drivers are seeing as well, right? So he's got Ride Light right there, and then you can look in behind him, and he doesn't have a whole lot going on in behind right now, so he knows his battle currently is with this Toyota Supra in front of him. And as we say that, Misdevious is making a pit stop here now, and I'm assuming her final pit stop of the race here, so that's going to set her back another 30 seconds from our GT3 class leaders. However, she is going for an undercut here, and that could work out for her depending on when the GT3 class leaders decide to make their final pit stop here. Now, several of these drivers still owe that soft tire, so we are going to see a plethora of pit stops coming anytime within the next 3 to 5 minutes for these drivers as they get into that soft tire window, as I like to call it. Soft tires just do not last long here. It is a very aggressive racetrack on tires. Watkins Glen is very sandpapery, I guess is a good way to explain it. It's very hard on tires. And of course, with the high-speed nature of the racetrack and how heavy these corners are at high speed, it just chews up these racing tires. And that's what these drivers are dealing with here today. So Ismail is going to come into pit lane. He is going to look for that undercut on Ride the Light. And the big question is how long can each of these drivers really make those soft tires last? That really ultimately at the end of the day is the bigger question. So we've got Sheriff here, and he's now sitting in third place and has Ten Tenths Misdevious closing in there about 1.6 seconds behind. And then they've got a blue flag car. I believe an LMPH car is right there in the mix as well. It is TDC Gaming. That is coming up on our GT3 cars here that we're sitting on board with right now. So as TDC Gaming comes around, we're going to just kind of look in behind Sheriff here. And this is kind of what he sees. And look how quickly that car has closed up on that short straightaway right there. And zippity-doo, he's going to take ahead and done deal. Now that has actually allowed Misdevious to close up a little bit, but Sheriff is coming in for that scheduled pit stop that will give Misdevious third place back in the GT3 class, and battle on. Alright, so we got Fast Ginger here. He has made his pit stop here and looking to take this the rest of the way, I would assume. 17 seconds in behind Sheriff. He may grab this position here as he comes around pit lane. We'll have to wait and see here as we come around turn 1 here. Let's see if he can come out ahead of Sheriff Doofy. He most certainly does. So Fast Ginger moving up into 4th place here in our GT3 class. Sheriff just coming out of pit lane here, and Medic is in 11th place here and still on that lead lap with his GT3 class. So he's not really losing anything as far as points goes. And that's the beautiful thing about this. This is why we wanted to try this point system out this season, because we really strongly believe that it is going to change the championships. Our newer drivers, our learning drivers, our rookies, our AMs, our Pro-Am drivers legitimately stand a chance of winning a championship with this new point system, because if they stay on the lead lap, they have scored the same amount of points as the race leader. It all comes down to those bonus points. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this point system really settles out at the end of the season. We have huge high hopes for this point system. This is a real life point system that's used in real life racing today. This is why we went with this point system. The only thing we've changed really from the real life point system is the amount of bonus points that are handed out, and that's because we still want to keep the races as close as possible, because clearly right now Dylan is very dominant in the prototype class in the beginning of the season. That may change as the season progresses, obviously. But JP has been giving him a run for his money this season as well so far, and he actually, as we talk about JP, he's navigating around 10 Tenths Mischievous, our third place GT3 car right now, as we head down into turn 1. I believe they call this the 90. And no fancy name here for this corner, just a good old 90-degree corner. And I mean, the names are very subtle here at Watkins Glen, very easy to remember. This is we're coming up in 3 S's here right now. That's it. I mean, very simple corner names here at Watkins, and very easy to remember even for us viewers, or for us that are new to this or don't know this track. You can learn these corner names in just a few minutes. The bus stop, and then we've got the boot sector, and that's it really. Essentially, the chase is a name that I've kind of picked up over real life racing over the years, and used myself based off of real life commentators. Of course, being a sim racing commentator, I like to try and watch a lot of world endurance racing, street racing, GT3, LMPH, GT4, TCS sports class racing. I try to watch as much of that as I can when I can find time, and listen to the real life broadcasters and how they present their product and work for their respective organizations, right? So we try to take as much of that as we can and try to implement it into our sim racing commentary as well. So we watch a lot of the racing, and a lot of the setup and design ideas for our championships this season have really kind of gone more to real world. And I feel like that's what the racers are looking for right now, judging by the community and the types of races that are going on within the community right now. We're really seeing diversity in the type of racing compared to even a year ago. These short 1 hour, 40 minute races or dual sprint race formats for championships were the buzz a couple of years ago. They were the big thing. Everybody wanted to do this. But what I've seen happen over the last year is transition to long distance racing. 90 minute, 2 hour, 3 hour races, 8, 12, and 24 hour races. We're seeing huge increase in participation in long distance racing. So maybe this is the transition period that we're seeing here right now in GT7, where the racers are kind of over the sprint racing. And then the problem with sprint racing, and I kind of understand that, and I'm going to explain this to the viewers and even our racers. Some of you might be thinking the same thing. I've been pondering the same question in my head. I think that's just boring. Most championships that you register for that are within that hour or 40-minute race distance, you can almost guess what the strategy is going to be before the race even starts, right? And I think that is taking a little bit of the excitement away from the participants on the racetrack. So I think that changes a lot with the long distance racing, the endurance racing, because it is not predictable anymore. You are doing 2 hour stints in these super long endurance races per driver with multiple drivers, and you really have to learn to maintain and manage your race car. 2 hour stint with random weather, it's very unpredictable. There is a lot of extra factors, and I think that transition is new for the racers. A lot of racers are new to long distance racing, and it's exciting, and it's fresh, and it's fun, and it's intense. And I think we're going through a transition right now. I think we're really seeing a big transition from these short enduros, I like to call them. This is really ideally a long sprint, and really starting to see the racers move into long distance racing. So and I believe strongly it is because it's too predictable. It is very predictable, these 1 hour, 40 minute to 1 hour races. What we've done with the point system this season is taking the predictability completely out of the races. And that is the one big thing we're looking for with our point system this season, is taking the strategy. Did you think we were going to see the strategies we were going to see today? I didn't. I really did not expect to see such variation strategies today. I really didn't. But we did. It's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. And I think that's what the racers are looking for right now. Something new, something fresh, something different. Alright, so we have a change in GT3 lead here. We have Ismail with the undercut working out beautifully over ride light speed, and that is a 3.7 second gap. However, is the tire going to last long enough to hold off the charge of that Supra on a much fresher tire at this point in the race is the bigger question. So we'll be keeping our eye very closely on that battle for the race lead in GT3 class. Miss Devious is 28 seconds behind. Her undercut has definitely helped her close up that gap as well. She's got 19 seconds to the good over Fast Ginger, who's got 9 seconds to the good over Sheriff Doofy, who's currently sitting in 5th place in GT3, and Medic is just a minute in behind these guys here, so still on that lead lap of our GT3 class cars. Love it. Absolutely love it. Alright, not a lot happening here in the LMPH class today. I mean, Dylan's got a minute lead over JP. JP's got a half-minute lead over Egon. Egon's got about 20 seconds over Jay, and Jay's got 6.8 over TDC. That, I think, is our closest challenge right here, right now in LMPH. With 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Anything can change. The tire strategy is really going to factor in here in the next couple of minutes, I think. So it's Ismail here now, 3.1 seconds in behind Ride a Light. Ride a Light is closing the gap. He took 0.6 of a second out of him since the last time we checked on our GT3 class, which was just a lap ago. So he has definitely found some pace on those fresher racing tires over Ride the Light. So Dylan now making his extra pit stop, but he has a pretty good gap on the field here right now, so this is not even going to affect him. He'll lose 30 seconds. He's doing a 20-second gap over JP, and he's going to come out on some extremely fresh tires. Miss Devious here is in 3rd place. She's got 19 seconds to the good on Fast Ginger, who's got 7.9 seconds on Sheriff. Sheriff is closing here on Fast Ginger, so Sheriff is looking to try and see if he can grab a position here before the end of this race. And we got Medic here in 6th position here in our GT3 class as well, and I'm pretty sure that he's a retired firefighter. Work still currently serving, but definitely appreciate everything that he does, because that's a genuine hero right there on the racetrack. We know every firefighter that goes out there every single day on a call is saving lives. That's a hero. So, Medic is an absolute legend. We love it. That's what we love to see. Alright, Dylan, after his pit stop, still 26 seconds to the good over JP. Dylan is very dominant here. Dylan has come in with very, very key strategies here so far this season. That has definitely been a difference maker for him and his teammate this season. The rest of the drivers going to have to get to the drawing board here and figure out how they are going to deal with Dylan right now in this prototype class. Egon is in 3rd position here, and he's got 13 seconds over J-Set right now, so he is looking pretty good with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. We're going to see 2 laps basically out of the LMPH guys, and I think we'll see probably 1 more lap out of our GT3 class. They are about 4 laps difference. We got JP just navigating some GT3 traffic right now. You can see him just working his way around Ride the Light, and Ride the Light's really going to be looking for JP to get held up just a little tiny bit here by, or Ismail to get held up a little bit by JP here, I think, heading up through the chase, but JP obviously is not going to purposely hinder his teammate who's in GT3 class lead right now, and you can see that JP very patiently waited till a good moment to get around his teammate, not cost his teammate any time at all there, and to try and give his teammate the best chance to keep that race lead. But I tell you what, Ride the Light speed is coming, and 1.4 seconds in behind now, and potentially the last lap of the race. Ooh, this is going to be close to the GT3 class. They may get 1 more here. They may get 1 more. It is going to be within a second or 2 at the clock. But Dylan here for sure is flying, and is looking to at least get an extra lap on a couple of his class drivers here. Potentially today. He's got, what, a minute 25 left, and he's just heading in towards the heel. He is going to get around another time here. I think JP will as well. And Egon should. Jay should. I think actually all the LMPH may just make that final lap. We'll have to wait and see. Alright, so Ismail here. Oh boy, we got to stick with this. This is getting close. We're not going to leave this fight here now. Until either a pass is made or we see Dylan basically coming across the finish line at the start of this race. Battle on. I mean, we are 50 seconds on the clock here, and Ismail sees that Supra closing quickly, and there is a tire difference here, so he is going to go I was going to say fairly defensive, but I think he just made it look like he was going to go defensive there. And I think Ride the Light is just trying to plan out where he's going to try and get this done here. So side by side now as we head into the chase, and it is still positioned for Ismail. So Ismail is holding out strong here, and the LMPH are going to get another time around here. So we're going to stick with this battle as they come to the start-finish line, because they are literally going to be seconds away from the timer running out here as they come around the final corner. So this may come down to one more lap yet between these two. With 6 seconds on the clock, it's going to come down to a final lap battle between our GT3 drivers. Oh, game on. Here we go. Defensive driving coming from Ismail. He's going to hold that inside line. Are we going to see the over-under coming from that Supra? Absolutely, we're going to see the over-under coming from that Supra, and job done. Great pass right there by Ride the Light, and so far that strategy has worked out better for him, but he's still got to make it around this lap yet. All right, let's go take a quick look at that one more time, and then let's get to our overall race leader here. So Ismail did a great job at defending, but of course tire wear of really forcing him out wide on the exit there, and that just allowed Ride the Light Speed to just tuck it in and get the job done and take over the GT3 race lead. So there we go. Egon coming through in third place. Jay is going to finish in fourth place here. Dylan is coming around, is going to take a round 2 win. Congratulations to him. Miss Devious is going to take third place in the GT3 class as she comes around, and JP will take second place here for our LMPH as well. So Dylan with the win for LMPH is going to be JP in second, and Egon taking out third place here today. So bonus points for those 3 drivers as they complete their races here. Rad does come across TDC Gaming in 5th place for LMPH. So Ride Lightspeed here, our GT3 class race leader, getting the job done in turn 1 on the final lap. And boy, if Ishmael ever wanted that clock to run out before the start finish line, it was most certainly right there. Time was not his friend here today, and Ride the Light is going to bring it home with a victory in round number 2. And oh boy, these GT3 points are going to be so tight after this week. This is insane. Oh, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. I'm loving this. Sheriff coming through there. He's going to finish out. It's going to be a win for Ride the Light, and it's going to be a very hard-fought second place here for Ismail as well. Fast Ginger is going to take 4th place overall. Sheriff in 5th, and Medic will take 6th place for our GT3 class. Ooh, what a doozy. What a doozy. Let's go take a look, shall we? All right, so it is Dylan, pole position, fastest lap, and a race win. It is a clean sweep of points here again today. So he's looking at about 42 or 43 points on the day here, depending on how many completed racing laps were done today. JP in 2nd place, Egon in 3rd place, TTJ Set is going to finish in 4th, and Team Rad's TDC Gaming, or the Damn Cat, will finish 5th place in our LMPH, and Dark Cobra out of town working this week, unable to make the field here this week. We've got Ride Lightspeed taking the overall GT3 win. And who has fastest lap on track? Right now, it looks like Ishmael with a 44.5. So Ismail in 2nd place for the GT3s, and Mischievous rounding out the podium there for GT3s in 3rd place. Let's go take a look at the last half, 144.5. Whoops. And fastest lap will go to Ismail here today. So he did sweep up pole and fast lap point there. So great job by him. Fast Ginger is going to come in 4th place. Sheriff is going to come in 5th place, and Medic will come in 6th place for the GT3. So great job by all of our racers. And let's save us a replay. All right. So congratulations again to our podium finishers here tonight. Congratulations for our LMPH class. In 1st place is Dylan 0119. In 2nd place was JP. And in 3rd place was Ten Tenths Egon. In our GT3 class tonight, it was in 1st place Ride Lightspeed with a last lap pass on Ismail into turn 1 to get the job done and take the win. Absolutely great job there from Ride to Lightspeed. Great battle. Love to see it. Ismail with a 2nd place finish here this week. Took 1st place last week. Those two are going to be so close in points. It's not even going to be funny. and a third place finish for 10 Tenths Misdevious here this week. And to the rest of our racers, absolutely spectacular job out there. This was a doozy of a race. That spin from Egon on lap 1 into the carousel, that was a tense moment. That was a huge moment very early on in the race. And I got to tell you, the reaction from the drivers and how all those drivers handled that situation, and Egon kept the car safe. He kept it out of the wall. He kept it damage-free. He also did not collect up anybody else, and he also had the GT3 class barreling down on him when that happened, and had also had to deal with 3 of our GT3 class leaders on lap 1 also having to react to that situation. So race starts are always going to be so spicy here in this multi-class racing. But again, to the racers, fantastic job out there tonight. Only really one incident I think that I seen on racetrack that may potentially end up in our steward's office today. And other than that, another absolutely fantastic race. It looked like the blue flag situations were handled very, very well again. And like I said, it just goes to show that our registered racers this season have read, fully understand the rules, fully understand the procedures put in place for the season, and clearly understand how the season is operating. So to the racers, A+ job out there. As always, can't do it without you. Great performance out there from all 11 of our drivers. And again, there's still lots of room in this series. If you're interested, hit me up in the chat. We'll get you in the Discord. We'll get you to all the information you need. And the registration link has everything you need to know about the championship in a few pages of information. But that was a great race by, again, all of our racers. So, again, we're not doing podium interviews this week. We are still setting all that up. Again, with my streaming equipment the way it is, I'm a little bit worried about opening Discord while live streaming. Typically, that's been crashing the stream lately. So, we'll figure that out. We'll do some tests, I think, in the off racing week and see if we can get everything to start working properly again for everybody. Because we definitely want to talk to our overall class leaders this season. We would definitely like to talk to the winner from each class, and you just get their input on their races. But for the meantime, we'll just leave it be for now. But congratulations to all the racers. Racing soft tires were required here today, so of course our race officials will review the pit stops from all of our drivers on the racetrack today and ensure that all 11 drivers did meet that tire mandate. If the drivers, do not meet the tire mandate, it is a 1-minute penalty added to the end of the race finish. It is a very heavy penalty, so it is not worth not using the mandatory tire. The penalty is heavy enough to most likely lose you at least a position on the racetrack. In this case, a minute would have cost all the positions on the racetrack. So it's very important that the drivers are paying attention to that tire mandate. They change from week to week. Some weeks will be a medium, some weeks will be softs, and some weeks will be the hard tires are required. It all depends on the track and the racing round, and how we set the schedule up this season. So lots to look forward to. We are heading to we got a good one on the docket next week. This is going to be an interesting race next week. We are heading over to Japan next week, and we're going to be hitting Suzuka. So we are going to be hitting a difficult racetrack in round 3. Suzuka is a pretty tight, narrow racetrack. It is very hard to find places to pass at Suzuka. It should be an interesting race because the LMPHs are going to have to navigate around the GT3 cars, and there's most certainly going to be some patience required next week at Suzuka. So, again, congratulations to all of our racers. I mean, absolutely top-notch job. Right down from our LMPs, straight down to the last GT3 driver. I think the series is only going to get spicier and spicier, and it's only going to get better and better. I think everybody has kind of felt each other out at this point now. They all kind of know where their pace is sitting, so now it's going to be get back into the paddock, give it to teams, give it your crew, and start crunching some numbers, start working out strategies, and get some testing and tuning done. And I think that we're going to be seeing some different races as we start to move towards mid-season here. I know, speaking of mid-season, we have a doozy of a race mid-season. I can't wait. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. It's It's going to be so much fun. I'm not going to say too much more. For those of you that know, you know. For those of you that don't, just wait, because round 5, you're not going to want to miss. We are breaking something completely different and out of the norm in this kind of racing for round number 5. So that should be exciting. But we'll talk about that more after round 4. So, great job again. 36 laps, I believe, in the books for our LMPH cars here today, and 33 laps in the books for our GT3 lead lap cars here today as well. So, we will now allow the drivers 24 hours for any incident reporting. So, at 11 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night, that incident reporting window will close. We will not take any incident reports past that time. From there, our stewarding team will, if necessary, take a look at any incident reports, and then ideally have about 24 to 36 hours to get those assessments out, make a final decision, and of course place our decision from there, and then allow that appeals process. So standings can be done over the weekend. In a perfect world, there's no incidents and we can get standings out very early. That was last week, but I dropped the ball in the standings, so it was not a perfect world. But that's okay. We'll get it all caught up here. Again, to the viewers, thank you for coming in. With us not being live as much, I know that we're a little quiet right now, so to speak. But that's okay. Fun race. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Ginger. Thanks for coming in and taking over Bar's spot for Egon, brother. You did a great job. Again, we'll start getting more content out for everybody in the evenings here. It might not necessarily be GT7 content, but going to start getting some form of content out in the evenings back for our community here and get things moving again. Like I said, we had to take a little bit of time away. We had some personal issues that we're dealing with. We have equipment issues we're dealing with. And of course, I did start Ten Tenths Simracing with Ten Tenths Miss Devious about 18 months ago, and that has been a lot of work. A lot of work to get that kind of to the point where it is now. So we feel like we're at a point now where we can kind of get back to our rhythm, our routine, and our grind with GT45 Gaming and GT45 Gaming Motorsports. So that is the plan moving forward. Just bear with. There is definitely more content starting to come back to the page here. We're not going anywhere. I know a lot of you have probably thought that, oh, you're just another streamer that just walked away without talking to his community or their community. That's not the case. I just trying to sort some stuff out, making sure that everything in behind me is good, because if everything in behind me is good, then that allows me to really put focus back in on the page, right? So that's kind of where it's at right now. So I do apologize to the community and the viewers for the lack of content, especially over the last 6-7 months. But we're back, and I mean, we still have some equipment issues and we still have some minor issues, but I appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out with us, and you know, what a great race. This Multiclass Championship has massive potential, and I think we're going to bring this back next year, just with a slightly different format to appeal to the racing community a little bit better. And I think maybe we might amp up the amount of distance on the race. We're not sure yet, but so far I know I've been enjoying this series very, very much so. I think that it's a different dynamic. You know, we've seen GT3s and GT4s, we see GT3s and GT2s. It's very rare you see LMPs and GT3s in GT7. It's not something that's not been done. Race Asylum has done it in the past as well, I believe. But it is definitely a different dynamic. It is, you know, the LMPH cars are about 13 to 15 seconds a lap faster around the average racetrack over the GT3 cars. So you got to imagine a GT3 car can, on the high end of a GT3 car, can go roughly about 180 to 185 miles per hour. On these Toyota GR010s, if you get a big enough track and enough room for them really to open up, then, I mean, we're talking 15-20 seconds on the GT3 cars and 200 plus miles an hour. So, you know, when you have 20 to 30 mile an hour difference between the cars that are on track together, that is a significant amount of closing speed. And the fact that these racers are handling this so well this early in the season, I mean, we got ourselves some skilled drivers on track, and they look like they're having fun. So I think it's been a pretty good start to the season, and I only see this championship getting tighter and a lot more intense as we progress on through here. Suzuka is a game changer. Suzuka is going to be a tough track next week, and I can't wait to see how that one works out for our racers. It does keep everyone on their toes, doesn't it? It most certainly does. Next series, F1 and safety car, potentially. we have lots of things brewing in the background. It's just which one are we gonna, pull the trigger on next, right? So this year's championships are pretty set already. We do have a GT3 championship. I can say that much. A GT3, GT4 mixed championship coming in the summer. It is not a multi-class series. It will be a GT set of set to GT3 races and GT4 races with specific car. And then our winter championship, I think we're going to be moving more into an endurance format over the winter for our racers. Again, this is what seems to be kind of picking up right now in our neck of the woods. I'm really starting to see a lot of interest in long distance racing over these shorter sprint style races. And again, I just sheerly think it's because these 40 to 60 minute races are very predictable. Even as a viewer that is a avid viewer of sim racing, can probably predict the strategy of the race before the race even starts. And I think that's why we're seeing a little less interest in these shorter distance races over long distance races right now. But of course, that's just my opinion. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. That's just my opinion. But absolutely great job to all our racers today. And I can't wait to see what the standings shake up like, especially in the GT3 class after this week, because it is going to be so tight in GT3s. And again, still room open in the championships. So if you want in, hit that registration, go sign up. You don't need a teammate. You can come in as an individual driver. We have a 714. We've got, I believe, 15 LMPH spots left, and we've got 15 GT3 spots left. So the classic car is entirely up to you, what you want to run, and that just throws you into that class championship. So you don't need to have the teammate to still run this championship. You can just come in and run the individual championship, and as new racers come in and try their luck here, of course, we can just start to pair drivers up for team points just for the sake of having team championship there for you as well. But it is the individual championship for sure is the key point here this season, and we have 2 individual champions to be crowned this season, plus a team champion as well. And that's just an extra perk to the championship we decided to throw in, and mainly because we're seeing a lot of sim racing teams racing together in these championships, and I figured that it would be a good idea to nurse that notion. I was looking for the right way to say it or put it. Just due to the fact that we're seeing sim racing teams coming into championships and racing as teams, we figured we'd throw a team championship in there for that specific reason, just to allow our sim racing teams that bring multiple drivers into a championship to pair their drivers up and fight for an overall team championship as well. So that was the theory behind it and the reason why there's a team championship in on this series. But if you want to come in as an individual driver and race for an individual championship, hit that registration button, sign up. We check it every night when we get home from work, and we'll get you your roles and get you into the right places so you guys can get on track and test your luck against our racers. But absolutely love everybody. It's glad to be back. Glad to be back in the booth. Glad to have a championship running here again. Glad to kind of have the page slowly starting to move forward again. And glad to see our viewers coming back in slowly but surely and hanging out with us as well. So cheers to everybody. Everyone who's liked, shared, and viewed tonight, we appreciate that support. I apologize for being away for a while, but we're going to start seeing more regular content here. However, with that being said, it will be solely to the YouTube channel. We have decided to step away from Facebook as far as live streams go, and make YouTube our platform. Facebook will become our social posting platform for our championships or whatever is going on at this point. And we'll probably still do some shorts and some videos and stuff over on Facebook for everybody, but really right now the main goal is to continue to build our YouTube channel. I just feel like YouTube is out of all the platforms available to content creators right now, I feel like YouTube is the strongest and most solid platform. So that is why we're making the choice. And I don't know. I just like what YouTube has to offer. So Facebook gets a lot of red tape to get through in order to even try and make any money off of what I'm doing. YouTube is very cut and dry. This is what you need to do in order to get into this part of the program, and until you meet those requirements, you don't get into the program. Once you get into the program, this is what you do. This is what's available to you. That's it. done deal. Facebook, you don't know what's going on. They make changes constantly. They don't talk to the creators. They don't inform their creators they're making changes. And we literally just got to sit there and figure stuff out for ourselves on Facebook. And I mean, I haven't gotten a payout from Facebook in over a year. They owe me money for a year now. So at this point, I'm not supporting a platform that isn't holding up their end of the bargain, I guess is the point. So that is one of the biggest decisions as well. And we'll try to be back on live tomorrow night with some kind of content, whether it be an open lobby or Diablo or Warships or whatever else we got going on our PlayStation. But we'll try to be back on throughout a couple hours every night here over the week to get the page stimulating again. But we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And on behalf of 10 Tenths Simracing, GT45 Gaming, Motorsports, we would like to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank our racers for participating. And we'll catch y'all in the next one. Remember, y'all matter. I always challenge every week our community to go do one good act, a good deed, an act of kindness in their community. That challenge stands still to this day. I challenge every single one of my members of my community to do something good. That does not fall on deaf ears. I practice what you preach, so to speak. I try to do the same thing myself every week, and I got it out of the way early this week. I was at the gas station yesterday picking up some rolling papers, and the guy was about 30 or 40 cents short off his purchase, and we threw the 30 or 40 cents on the counter for him so he could get what he needed, right? And that tiny small act of kindness potentially made that guy's day. So he was very thankful, he was very appreciative for it, and we got ours out of the way early this week. Doesn't mean we're done, just means we got it out of the way early. So I do challenge you all to that. And most importantly, stay winning, everybody. Catch y'all in the next one. Love y'all. See y'all soon.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest, there ain't no way I'm ever stopping.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top,
I'm always flirting with pain, she like to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building a dynasty while the haters be trying me. But they hate from inside, you see, hate themselves in society. So I let them speak quietly while my actions speak wider. See, they be hiding in privacy with the screen, oh the irony. To hate someone who's trying to be whatever they would like to be. We all feel the anxiety, we make our own rivalries. Yo, so where is all the positivity? I feel like we all just hate on everything, it's killing me. Thoughts build quick, causing different possibilities. Negative thoughts will cause different disabilities. So do better, work hard under pressure. If you got no time, work smarter than ever. Don't ever let them tell you that you can't ever say never. And turn your mind into the truest of go-getters.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm